Boys, if you missed the weekend updates, this is everything you need to know about the latest OpenClaw 3.13 update. So in this release, we're primarily looking at bug fixes and hardening releases. No new headline AI features, but overall it packs a large number of meaningful improvements. We're looking at over 60 changes merged from more than 20 new contributors. There is a lot in this patch, but we're only going to be looking at the big ones that improve our quality of life. So we're going to be focusing on 5 major features. We have browser automation, mobile UI refresh, Docker improvements for all you expert engineers out there, messaging platform enhancements, and performance and security hardening. First up, we have browser automation. So if you're using OpenClaw for web scraping, testing, or any kind of automated browsing, this is huge for you. The batch act dispatch system is now normalized with proper selector support. So before, if you wanted to interact with multiple elements on a page, like filling out forms or clicking several buttons, the batch operations were pretty unreliable. Now, with this new system, they work predictably. Failure handling is also much more robust. The system now properly detects batch failures and enforces limits so you don't end up with runaway automation tasks that consume resources indefinitely. The session lifecycle has been completely hardened as well. OpenClaw now validates browser sessions properly and prevents those frustrating stale session errors where your agent thinks a browser is open, but it's actually crashed. So for long-running automation workflows, this means dramatically better reliability. Now, moving to mobile, these improvements pretty elevate the user experience on Android and iOS. I personally don't use mobile myself for OpenClaw, so let me know how you feel about this latest change. Basically, on Android, the chat settings UI has been completely redesigned with better organization. They've integrated Google Code Scanner natively for QR code scanning, which makes onboarding and authentication much smoother. And for iOS users, get a new welcome pager that guides you through the first time setup experience. So some small UI tweaks we're seeing here, but they're adding up to a much more professional feel, especially if you're deploying OpenClaw for non-technical users. Now, let's talk about infrastructure, because this is where production deployments get real benefits. So if you're using Docker, the big addition here is the time zone override support through a new OpenClaw TZ environment variable. So if you're running containers across different time zones or need consistent scheduling, you can now control this explicitly. No more confusion about when scheduled tasks actually run. Security hardening is also pretty significant here. They've prevented gateway token leaks during Docker builds, essentially closing a security hole where sensitive credentials could be exposed. All Docker files now include apt get upgrade to pull the latest system patches automatically. Restart handling is also improved with better update or refresh logic. So if you're running OpenClaw as a long-running service, these improvements mean fewer manual interventions and more reliable updates. If you're an everyday OpenClaw user, you don't really need to pay attention to this because Docker is really for the pros. But if you're a Docker user, I hope this section has helped you. Smash that like button if it did. Now, for team deployments, messaging platform integrations are pretty nice here. This release, we're seeing delivering improvements across all major channels. So for Slack, there's interactive reply directives as an opt-in feature, giving you much better control over conversation flow in threads. However, on Reddit, we've been seeing some comments about Slack is completely broke their tool. It's not working. So if you're in a company and you're working with OpenClaw on Slack, let us know how that goes as well. For Telegram, they're getting an IPv4 fallback for media downloads. So if IPv6 fails, it automatically retries over IPv4. Now for Discord, that's for us out here. Discord now handles gateway metadata fetch failures gracefully. Before, if Discord's gateway had issues, our agents would crash. And we almost always see this, especially 2-3 weeks ago. Now, if it crashes, it recovers automatically. Now, for Feishu, if you're from China, this is pretty big for you. The app is getting an event level deduplication. I've never said that word before. Basically, it prevents duplicate replies. That annoying double message bug, gone. Now, next up, we got gateway security and resource management. We are seeing pretty big improvements here, which is great for everyday OpenClaw users. Request bounding now limits unanswered client requests to prevent resource exhaustion. So if you've ever had an agent get overwhelmed by too many simultaneous requests and become unresponsive, this fix addresses exactly that scenario. Control UI authentication bypass has been restored for local access. This was a pain point where you couldn't access the local control panel without jumping through authentication hoops. Now this is fixed. And for Mac OS users specifically, port guard no longer kills Docker desktop processes. This was a bizarre bug where OpenClaw's port management would aggressively terminate Docker, breaking your entire container setup. So very big quality of life fix if you are on Mac here. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you are here for this part, agent and model compatibility. Here's what you need to know. So user compatibility are now properly respected across, I think, all providers. I don't know how many providers are there. I hope it's all. But if you explicitly configure model settings, OpenClaw won't override them with defaults, giving you real control. Now, for you Ollama users out there, you're getting a cleaner response with hidden native reasoning output. You only see the final answer, not the internal reasoning steps, unless you want to see them. So you can pretty much toggle them on or off now. And Gemini normalization now applies to the Google Vertex provider, ensuring consistent model ID handling across Google's different API endpoints. Now, for session and memory management, if you're still struggling with optimizing your memory for your OpenClaw, this is for you. With this release, we're seeing much more focus on context preservation and cleaner replay. And 4 features here you need to be paying attention to. State preservation. Now this maintains last account ID and last thread ID on session reset. So your agent remembers where it was in multi-account or multi-thread scenarios. This is a big improvement after the ACP provenance came in the 3.8 release. Second, we got memory injection. So before, there were bugs where agents would have duplicate memories for Windows and Mac OS users. Now with this release, it seems like that's no longer the case for case-insensitive file systems. The third feature, we got anthropic thinking blocks. They're now dropped on replay for cleaner history. So when you replay a session, you don't see confusing reasoning fragments that shouldn't be there. Now, next up, we have UI UX fixes for the OpenClaw dashboard. So if you are using OpenClaw interacting with your agents here on the dashboard, this is for you. A lot of users have reported a lot of issues with their dashboard, even after the previous 3.12 update where they had a complete dashboard redesign. So in this patch, they're addressing some of these fixes. First of all is the dashboard performance issue where chat history would trigger a reload storm. Now this is fixed. So if you're using OpenClaw dashboard, they're able to load quickly without stuttering. Oversized chat replies are now formatted properly, so they stay readable instead of overflowing their containers. The scroll pill indicator has the chat new messages class restored, so you can see when new messages arrive when you scroll up. Next up, we have some critical bug fixes that address stability issues that were causing production problems. First and foremost, the compaction sanity check during context compaction is now fixed, preventing agents from making poor decisions about when to compress history. Workspace resolution now works correctly for cross-agent, sub-agent spawns. So if you're using agent structures that have a hierarchy, this was a blocker. Okay, we got 2 more slides left. Bear with me here. This part is about the plugin and configuration schema improvements. Collision detection is the first feature. Now, it fails fast on channel and binding collisions, giving you clear errors instead of mysterious failures where they don't tell you what's going on. The agents.list schema now includes the missing params field. It was an oversight that was causing schema validation issues. Firecrawl config is restored in the runtime schema for web fetch operations. And signal channel schema now includes the groups config option. So overall, this might seem technical, but they prevent hours of debugging when you're configuring complex agent setup. So you don't really need to know this, but it's a nice to know what's going on behind the scene. Now, finally, to the best part. We saved the best for last here. We're seeing a roughly 50% memory reduction through 4 key optimizations. So if you're running OpenClaw on mini PCs, local machines, or even cloud instances where you're watching costs, this 50% memory reduction is transformative. Your agents will be faster, more responsive, and more stable because of these 4 optimizations. The first one we got is the plugin SDK deduplication. Saying that word again right there, that's a funny ass word. Now, this fixes a memory regression by 2 folds. Previous versions were loading the same code into memory multiple times. Absolutely killer for resource-constrained systems. Cron isolation is improved, preventing scheduled tasks from interfering with each other. So I think in the 3.2 or 3.3 OpenClaw update, they addressed that with the double cron job fixes, but users were reporting the same issues still where scheduled tasks were interfering with each other. Now they're providing a better isolation environment for that. So not a complete fix, but I think still a big improvement. For the third one, we have the gateway bounding. This prevents resource exhaustion from too many simultaneous requests, and improved lifecycle management, reducing memory leaks that would accumulate over long running sessions. And that's pretty much it for the 3.13 update. Based on community feedback, I think the most celebrated fix was the 50% memory reduction. Some users actually reported that the memory leaks ate up their RAM on long sessions. And for users running OpenClaw on local machines, this was actually the silent killer that made your agents progressively dumber, right? Because they're eating up a lot of your RAM. So now it's not as dumb as before, okay? It's not a complete fix, but it's 50% less dumb now, okay? Before we go, check out our website, BoxminingAI.com. We have all of our learning resources for OpenClaw, AI agents, AI tools here on this website. If you want to learn about cloud code, you can just go to this right here, check out the use cases, click watch. It's not just a video, by the way, but if you really don't have the time to watch the full video, you can read the summary right here. It's structured really well. It has everything you need to know. And if you want to be a part of our community, you can go to the bottom right here, sign in. You'll get a founder status with lifetime free access. You get everything here for free. We don't store any information. We just want to grow this community and make it an amazing learning experience. So boys, take good care of yourselves. Smash up the like button. Subscribe to this channel. My name is Ron. Shanana!